watching it all. Jason's in the hospital, and his surgery, he'll be done at 10 o'clock today. So it's something that's been irritating him for many years. So it's nice we went to a nice Catholic hospital, and they were willing to help us even if we didn't have the money to pay. But fortunately, because I'm grateful to Mr. Biden and the fact that I get an opportunity to actually have health insurance. I'm considered a pre-existing condition. Because of that, I get an opportunity to qualify for certain benefits. And I'm grateful because it just kicked in right before he went into the hospital, into the emergency room a couple weeks ago. We've been in the emergency, in and out. I love this hospital. This hospital has been so helpful in our process of trying to rush around and go to certain doctors to be looked at and checked. And before we even had health insurance, they were willing to look at us. So fortunately, we were really touched by the nurses who explained, you know, just get better, don't worry about the bills. And that's something I don't think I've ever heard from medical staff. We went to Hogue, and that was an experience. You have lots of bells and whistles, but you know, when payment comes, you do get, you're not treated very well as a customer. So it was really nice to be treated well and treated with kindness. And like I said, it's a Catholic hospital, and they even provide help when it comes to payment. You know, how are you going to pay it back? And it's very expensive here in the United States if you get stuck in a hospital. And so I hope that this hospital continues to grow. And that's one thing I really appreciate about people who do have money, is they pour it into something that is going to benefit everybody. And they don't look at religion, and they don't look at wealth. They just see you as a person, and they want you to get better. So that was something I really appreciated. And I'll be picking up my husband soon. So I'm looking forward to seeing him, but without his gallbladder. Yeah, so I got breakfast this morning. I'm in Laguna. This isn't a bad place to be sick. I'm at the Montage. It's really nice here in Laguna. And the workers are really sweet. I went to breakfast at the Orange Inn, and got a chance to talk to the server there. There's only 2 people working, and they're finding it hard to find people to work. I didn't even realize that. 4 cafes down here in this little area, in this little city in Laguna, have closed because they can't find enough people to work for them. And they pay over $20 an hour. But in California, it's still pretty expensive to live, and $20, it really isn't. I mean, it's good money hourly, but 25 is probably better. And I think people are just waiting for their money to run out and enjoying their family. I think in a lot of ways, America has overworked their people, and so they're tired. They're just tired. Americans die young. It's gotten to the point where the very, very wealthy, they can afford things, but the middle class, they're tired because, well, they get taxed a lot. It's sad. They're struggling still. They're enjoying the time they have with their families. I don't blame them. The Delta variant, is over here. And so I guess there are people that are going into hospital here in California. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that until my husband ended up having to go to the hospital himself. I was asking them about different things in the hospital, and they were saying people are still getting checked in because of COVID to vaccines. It's very controversial. And in certain places in the country, it's worse than others. I guess red states. Here in California, there's a mixture of people here. So some got vaccinated, some didn't. And like I said, it's a personal decision. It's kind of scary though when you realize that people can really die. And even though people get vaccinated, you can still transfer it to other people. And then, unbeknownst to yourself, you can kill them. They can end up going into the hospital. Yeah, so anyway, Jason and I got vaccinated. And I know I have nurse friends, and they were like, no, we don't want to do it. And I understand, it's a personal decision, but I don't want them to die either. I don't want them to get sick. They're usually my age. So, I worry about my friends because I don't want them to get sick. And I certainly don't want to give them anything. That's my concern. I think that was my biggest concern when I got the vaccine, is that I would hurt someone and I wouldn't know that I gave them anything. Pretty sure our family all got COVID right before it was even advertised on or was on the news. We had all gotten really sick in our chest, and all of us had a really hard time breathing. My husband ended up going to the doctor at that point. Let me do this because this is so much prettier. And it was kind of scary because we had never experienced that before. The whole family had fevers. The whole family was, I was the last one to get it. We were in a bad way. It was really scary too, because at the time we really felt alone. Yeah, I've always felt alone, even in the organization when we got sick, because no one really wants to come around you when you're sick, and then you certainly people don't want to go around you when you have someone who's not one of Jehovah's Witnesses anymore. And so I felt that. I mean, people did sort of help, but no. I had a congregation of over 150 people, and maybe 2 people would show up. So it was hard when you got sick. I know there's a lot of people struggling out there, maybe health-wise, as well as a feeling of loneliness. It's what happens when you get ostracized. Just know that, someone else experienced that, and be gentle with yourself. And ask a neighbor to help you. Make sure that you don't feel like you can't have anyone help you, because there's a lot of people that will still help you. And so you don't feel alone. I think that's the hardest thing, is when you're sick and you go to a hospital and you need help and you just need... I know there was one time my husband was in the hospital and an elder and his wife showed up. I mean, that was very rare and strange. They were the only ones. I was in my Huntington Beach hall, and she came with a package of granola bars and a bottle of water, and that made the biggest difference. But when you don't have that, that's hard. So, and that was 2 people out of probably 150 people. And of 8 million people that's supposed to be my friends. That's crazy. And I was a regular sister in the truth. I was a regular meeting attender. At that point, I still was very regular. I showed no signs of apostasy. Anyway. Yeah. So here I am, waiting for my husband to get done with surgery. There's one thing I have noticed. This COVID thing hasn't really affected the wealthy. Not really. I think this is my most favorite time on the beach. is when nobody's here. And in the wintertime, right, it's even better. You don't see anyone here because it's cold. You see people taking pictures right now, or going to anyway. Me and my husband, and the family, we all watched the Vice documentary on Jehovah's Witnesses. I think it was done very, very well, and it gave it. Mr. O'Donnell and his wife did a good job. And Cameron, my girls were really affected by his testimony, by his research, and the young girl that I didn't get her name. I didn't get her name. But she was LGBTQ plus. Yeah. Oh, that was really heart-wrenching. That her mama died at such a young age, and she went back to her grandma. It was hard, and I know there's a lot of people that are alone, right? And then getting their lives back together is really encouraging to see that you can. I was impressed by her courage, very impressed by her courage, because I remember as a witness, I would look at the LGBTQ plus community, and I would think if anybody would understand them, it would be my God. The isolation that they experience, I thought, okay, well, I know what that feels like as a Jehovah's Witness. That separateness and the difference that it feels like being different as a Jehovah's Witness. So I thought, well, if anybody's going to understand, it would be this God, Jehovah. And of course, I later on have come to different conclusions in my life. And everybody's entitled to their, which is really nice, everybody's entitled to their choices. So it makes me have more compassion for somebody who is to choose differently. And I appreciate it more. I appreciate it a lot more. And how strong these individuals are. So my heart I was inspired. My heart was truly touched. It was very inspiring. And I appreciate everybody going out on the limb and actually telling their stories, because I know it's hard. It's not an easy thing to go and open up yourself to the world. So thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. I enjoyed Mr. O'Donnell's wife. That was hard for her. So it was rough to hear it too, because you know that people don't do anything about it. And she's one of many sisters that are individuals that in the organization that I know of that just didn't get heard and didn't get protected. Cameron, and then that young girl and her grandmother didn't follow through with taking care of her mom, protecting her, and just making a living choice. And then, if her daughter was going to get upset or not, that would be the aftermath of a living choice. And Barbara Anderson, oh my goodness, that woman's amazing. Shows how strong you can be as a woman. And she definitely is. I'm grateful to her. Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. And her lovely partner that stood for her, that stood by her. I hope eventually you get your family back. And you get to see your grandbaby. Well, I'm just sharing what we're doing this morning. So I hope you have a good day. Thank you for always being here. Hope we're helpful. I think it's nice to see people just living and feeling all the feelings that you get when you come out. As a family, we're doing pretty good. Ani is coming out of her depression, slowly but surely going away. And Ellie is she's just Ellie. She was not acclimated like Ani was, with all the friends and the different choices that Ani was making, because it was getting to the point where some of Ani's friends were getting baptized, going over the questions. And my daughter, as a parent, I got more and more fearful, because I didn't want my daughter to feel that pressure of going over questions and getting baptized under 18. I waited till I was 18 to get baptized, and I was still too young. And like I said, my dad always begged me not to get baptized, and I did anyway. Ugh. I just wasn't strong enough to leave. I didn't feel I could. I didn't know where to go. So I hope this helps you on your healing journey. Just listening to other people helps, I think. Dr. Ramani, if you have a very strong, opinionated individual in your life that is a parent, she was very helpful to me. Dr. Tehan, I think I said that properly. And he's very helpful as well. Dr. Mate, he goes into addictions, because my father was an alcoholic, and how, any addiction, whether it be for food or alcohol or drugs or sex or anything that you can get addicted to, buying things, going shopping, it's an addiction. Addiction is an addiction. It doesn't matter what it is. I really enjoyed his interpretation of it. Addiction is addiction. And some of it takes us to places that are super dangerous and can be very hurtful to our bodies. I like Dr. Mate. So, follow your bliss. Be good humans.